Hansel and Gretel. In the sun-dappled village of Ethelwood, nestled beside the immense, whispering elder tree forest, lived two children, Hansel and Gretel. Hansel, the elder, was a dreamer and an engineer, always tinkering with gears and feathers to create ingenious little flying toys. Gretel, the younger, was a painter and botanist whose fingers held the soft magic of bringing faded pigments back to vibrant life. They lived happily with their father, the village woodworker, whose gentle nature was as sturdy as the oak he carved. One year, the legendary Sunstone Festival was to be held on the far side of the elder tree forest, a once-in-a-decade celebration of light and renewal. The journey was long, and their father, needing to finish a grand commission, sadly had to stay behind. "You are too young," he sighed. But Hansel, determined, had an idea. He built a small, intricate compass kite designed to guide them straight through the forest by detecting the magnetic pull of the sunstone crystal at the festival grounds. Gretel, equally determined, filled a pouch not with pebbles, but with glowberries, tiny phosphorescent fruit that would leave a shimmering trail only they could follow back. Their father, trusting their ingenuity and magic, gave his blessing, reminding them, "Never trade your ingenuity for a quick comfort." The children set off, the compass kite leading the way with a bright, taut string, and the glowberries leaving a gentle, sparkling path. The elder tree forest was not menacing, but a place of dazzling natural wonder, moss that shimmered like velvet, giant ferns that exhaled sweet, cool mist, and rivers of water so clear they looked like glass. They followed the glowberry trail for 2 days, marveling at the forest's beauty. But on the third day, Hansel, distracted by a fascinating clockwork beetle that needed repair, forgot to check the compass kite's alignment. And Gretel, enchanted by a hillside covered in new, rainbow-colored fungi she desperately wanted to sketch, failed to scatter the last of the glowberries. By late afternoon, they realized the compass kite was spinning wildly, and their berry pouch was empty. They were lost. Just as panic began to settle, they stumbled upon the most astonishing sight, a cottage made entirely of crystallized honey and sugared petals. The roof was thick, spun caramel, the windows were panes of clear, boiled candy, and the garden was filled with flowers made of glistening, rock candy spirals. It was the most vivid, brightest, and most delicious-looking structure imaginable. Out stepped the owner, a cheerful, plump woman named Astra. She was not a hag, but a kind, if slightly eccentric, baker whose only magic was baking joy into everything she made. Astra was renowned for creating magical confectionery that brought blissful relaxation to those who ate it. "Lost, little travelers?" Astra asked, her voice as warm as fresh bread. "Come in. You must be starving. I have an entire house of treats." Hansel and Gretel, forgetting their father's caution, immediately indulged. The cottage was a wonderland of flavor. Astra, seeing their fatigue, offered them her famous dream cream macarons and cloud fluff cakes. "These," she chuckled, "will wash all your worries away and give you the sweetest rest imaginable." The children ate until they were drowsy, and the bliss Astra's treats offered was overwhelming. Every difficult thought, the fear of being lost, the worry about their father, the need to find the Sunstone Festival, simply melted into a comforting, sugary haze. They slept soundly. Astra, with no ill will, simply loved making people happy and carefree. The next morning, she brought them more sweets, her specialty being a forget-me-not taffy that encouraged blissful inertia. She didn't want to hurt them, she simply wanted them to stay and enjoy her magic indefinitely. The children, lulled by the constant, overwhelming sweetness, spent their days in a haze. Hansel stopped repairing the compass kite, finding the effort pointless when he could just nap on a pillow of spun cotton candy. Gretel stopped sketching and forgot the names of the vibrant flowers outside, content to paint the same candy pattern repeatedly. Their natural ingenuity and vibrant spirit were being smothered by the magic of instant, effortless comfort. They were becoming dependent on the sugar bliss, which had become their invisible prison. One afternoon, as Astra was preparing a fresh batch of lullaby loaf, Gretel noticed a small, familiar object beneath the counter, a tiny, faded glowberry. Its light was almost gone, but the sight of it sparked a flicker of memory. their trail. Gretel whispered to Hansel, "Hansel, look. Remember the glowberries? We're supposed to be going to the Sunstone Festival, not sleeping here." Hansel frowned, reaching for a cloud fluff cake. "But why bother? This is easier. And sweeter." Gretel realized the terrifying truth. The sweetness was stealing their will. She remembered her father's words, "Never trade your ingenuity for a quick comfort." The treats were delicious, but their easy comfort was crippling their real potential. That night, Gretel decided they had to escape the Bliss cottage. She didn't try to argue with Astra. She knew the baker wasn't malicious, only devoted to her overly comforting magic. Instead, Gretel used her forgotten botanist's knowledge. She collected a few sour pulp berries, the brightest, tartest fruits she could find outside, and mashed them into a vibrant, bitter paste. She found Hansel, still half asleep and covered in frosting. "You need to taste this, Hansel," she urged, holding the paste out. Hansel recoiled from the bitter taste, but Gretel insisted, reminding him of their compass kite, their journey, and their father's trust. The bitter tang broke through the sugary haze. Hansel shuddered, and his mind, sluggish for days, suddenly cleared. "My kite," he gasped, rushing to the corner where it lay neglected. Together, they formulated a plan. They had to neutralize Astra's sweet magic to get away unnoticed. Hansel used his engineering skills to modify a large, empty caramel kettle. Gretel, using the sour pulp concentrate, covered the inside of the kettle with the bitter paste. The next morning, while Astra was outside tending her candy flower garden, the children placed the kettle, now a sour-scented trap, over her large, bubbling cauldron of dream cream macaron filling. The intense bitterness, combined with the heat, created a sudden, massive burst of sour vapor. Astra rushed in confused. The vapor didn't hurt her, but it neutralized her powerful sugar magic instantly. The air lost its blissful, heavy sweetness, and the house began to shimmer, the crystal honey and candy starting to soften and deflate. "My magic!" Astra cried, suddenly seeing the cottage not as a paradise, but as a cage she unwittingly built for others and herself. Hansel, with a now functional compass kite in hand, held out a small, non-magical, fresh apple they had carried from home. "Astra," he said gently, "your magic is kind, but happiness should be earned. This apple is simple, but it is real." Astra, shocked by the lack of artifice, accepted the simple, tart fruit. For the first time, she felt her own hunger for something genuine. Gretel then showed Astra a large, beautiful sketch she had drawn of a distant, colorful meadow. "Use your talents to make something that inspires action and journey, not just sleep," Gretel suggested. Astra, her eyes clear, looked at the dissolving cottage, then at the map and the honest apple. She finally saw the children not as permanent, sweet companions, but as bright spirits moving toward a goal. Hansel and Gretel followed the now steady compass kite and the lingering scent of their glowberries out of the softening Bliss cottage. They arrived at the Sunstone Festival, their spirits buoyant with earned freedom and determination. Astra, inspired by their honesty and vision, rebuilt her cottage entirely from carved fruit jellies and spice bread, creating a vibrant landmark for travelers. She still baked wonderful things, but her treats now held a new magic, a single, clear note of motivation and clarity. She became the most beloved wayfinder in the elder tree forest. Hansel and Gretel learned that the most beautiful paths require effort, and that true joy comes from facing life's challenges with ingenuity and shared purpose, not from escaping into comforting illusions. If you enjoyed this story, subscribe the channel and like the video.